My name is Kristina, and cooking is my safe space. I grew up in the kitchen actually with my dad. My dad is a professional chef, and it's my way to stay connected with him since we live on the opposite ends of the country. He's in Miami, I'm in LA. So it's really nice to be able to cook and FaceTime with him to stay connected with him while we're in a pandemic. But it's also teaching me a lot about patience and learning how to just trust your gut and experiment with flavors that you already know. So it's been a nice way to challenge myself, but also like just hone in on my skills and eat really, really good every day. Quarantine has allowed me to develop this safe space because before quarantine, I was always on the go. I had two very demanding jobs, freelancing and having another job. So it was just, I had no time to cook really the way that I wanted to. So it was always like ordering takeout or finding ways to cook the easiest meal that I could and not really put as much like attention and detail into it. So because quarantine happened, it allowed me to slow down, really put thought into what I wanted to eat and how I wanted to experiment with food, and it gave me time to do some research and watch videos and look at recipes and things. So it allowed me to just be in the moment of preparing whatever it was I was preparing at the time. When I cook, I think about my dad a lot and I think about my grandma. And when I started cooking during quarantine, I was actually in a different apartment. And so I had two roommates, so I started cooking things that they probably wouldn't think to eat that they might like. So I'm pescatarian, but I cook a lot of vegan meals. And one of my old roommates was very carnivorous. They really loved to eat meat. So I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could get someone who really liked to eat meat to enjoy vegan meals just as much as I do. And that is a thing that I started with my cooking when I was back home. So when I cook now, I think of the recipes that my dad would make and think about recipes that my grandma would make. So I started making healthy versions of salmon patties and grits or shrimp and grits. And I started baking and thinking about how I could make some desserts like my grandma would make, but make them more organic and things like that. So I try to use as fresh of ingredients as I can, as organic of ingredients as I can, just to keep my body and mind feeling good, because I like to really pay attention to what I put into my body as well. So I think that kind of rounds out why I'm doing the cooking so much in quarantine anyway. I think it's important to create a safe space because especially now with quarantine happening and everything, it's allowed a lot of us to really think about what it is we want for ourselves and how we're coping or dealing with everything that's changing in our life so fast. Having a safe space allows us to kind of just regroup and recenter ourselves and get to learn ourselves a little more. Learn about what we like, learn about what we don't like, what we want to do, or things that we didn't even know we were interested in. So I think it's so important to just play around with everything right now while we have the time to, because we don't know what life is going to be after this. So I think that's why it's important to have a safe space.